Okay, now that we understand the aggregation framework, we can go through some common SQL examples and see how they map to MongoDB. Now, these are in the documentation. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I'll go over just a couple of them. This is in the same page, the SQL to aggregation framework mapping chart. We assume that we have a MongoDB collection that contains orders that have line items in this array right here. So you can see the line items for the order are in this array with SKU, quantity, and price. And there's also the overall order info right here, very naturally kept together in one document. In the world of SQL, this would be three tables. There'd be an orders table that would have this outermost information. There'd be an order line items table that has this information, and then there would be a table tying it together, probably order line item order ID, which you could use to join those two tables together to tie the line items to the orders. So let's say I wanted to count the number of orders. The way that would work in SQL is just select count star from orders. And if I wanted to do it in MongoDB, now there is actually a count command, so we could just do db.orders.count. But to keep in the spirit of the aggregation framework, we'll do it this way. We're going to aggregate on grouping on something we haven't done before. Where the group is going to be on null, and then we're going to count. We're going to create a new count key with sum1. And I think this is just to show you sort of how it maps, although it might not be the exact way you do the calculation. You probably use the count. I would probably just call it count on the orders collection to get this particular piece of information. The next one is, let's say you want the sum of the prices across all the orders. Sum price from the orders. That's the SQL expression right there. Now I can do that using aggregation. Again, I'm going to group by _ID null. And this time, there is no other way to do it that I know of, so this is useful. You group by _ID null, and then that's every single document is going to get aggregated to the same result document. And we're going to calculate a total, a running total, which is the sum of the prices. All right. Now let's skip forward a little bit and figure out one that actually uses an unwind, so you can see what that looks like. So here's one that uses an unwind. Let's see, what we're doing here is we're unwinding this collection on the items, and then we're grouping by the customer ID and figuring out how many items they purchased. So this is the number of unique line items that a customer purchased. That's pretty easy to express in the aggregation query. And then in SQL, it's expressed like this. We're getting the sum of the line item, that quantity, and we're joining the orders table and the order line items table. This is the join where we join it, and doing it by customer ID. So it's kind of different. To be honest, now that I've been doing this for a while, I almost feel like this one feels more natural for me. I can decode it more quickly than this one. Thinking about it as a pipeline makes it a bit easier for me. And you can go through all of these if you want on the page, and you should be able to reason out what all of these do now that you understand the different parts of the aggregation framework.